So the framework for that is IRAC, issue, rule, analysis, and conclusion. I have a specific way that I do that. I don't think this is the framework so much as a description of what any successful answer will include, whether you address these super explicitly or not. They will all include these things, just as any sentence will contain, an actual sentence will contain a subject and verb and maybe objects and other things and dependent clauses. But the key is it will have it. You don't have to always say subject, Larry, verb, goes to the park. It's there. An issue is a summary of the fact plus the name of the claim you're going to analyze. So I think the issue is one of the hardest things to actually write down. A lot of the things are clear, but the issue is a weird summary of what you're about to do. You don't have to get into a lot of detail, just so there's a hook that catches your eye, and then you list the rule that you think you'll have to apply. That's all you have to do. So I don't know why Charlie Brown is punching Lucy, but this is a perfectly good issue. It's not even a full sentence, but Charlie Brown punches Lucy, battery. So it might be Lucy versus Charlie Brown, punch, battery, but it's just there. The rule. You have to apply a rule. Professors may have different views on whether they want you to state the rule or not, but I think with most, it's not a bad idea to show that you know the rule. You restate the black letter law exactly as the professor wants it, set out all the elements or factors, and then you actually straight up use numbers to identify each element because you're going to use them in your analysis. So the elements of intent to kill murder in the context of criminal are unlawful intentional killing of another human being. The elements of battery are an intentional offensive touching of another person without consent. Analysis, it shouldn't say conclusion at the top. So an analysis is a fitting of any appropriate fact or fact interpretations to each element. And you start by those that are in support of the claim, whoever's going to bring the claim, and then you look at those in support of the other side, and you come to a conclusion on that element. That means that on easy elements, you probably don't want to say a lot, or you don't need to say a lot. So let's say we're talking about battery. If there's a touching, if someone kicked someone else, you don't need to overanalyze. There's no counter argument to the fact that a foot touched somebody else. But a lot of issues, especially those involving mental elements, are really open to interpretation, where there can be a he said and she said and some kind of back and forth between the plaintiff and defendant on a claim. So intent or offense is a little more objective, but intent may not be, and you'll see kind of more back and forth on that in an analysis. In a conclusion, you render a prediction as to who would win based on case law. And so I went and talked about Hawkins versus McGee. It sets the black letter law, but there are also case outcomes that are generated in those cases that you read. And so you try to predict who would win and why, based on not just which arguments seem more compelling, but in light of the law, of the cases that you've read, if you were a court, which side would you side with? So this is difficult because it involves multiple shifts of perspective, taking as completely and zealously as you can the side of the claimant, then that of the person has to defend the claim, and then kind of pulling out from those very subjective positions to a more objective one of a court having to weigh those claims and declare one side a victor.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them, and feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.